local immigration lawyer Nelly Vielma to continue our conversation on immigration this morning, the laws that are on the books. Nelly Vielma, what does the U.S. law say about illegal immigration in this country? When is it illegal?
Good morning, Greta. Well, it is illegal when it hasn't been done by the proper channels that our laws provide for. And unfortunately, because of a broken immigration system, because of the need for comprehensive immigration, this illegal immigration has been piling up for years before. I remember around 2000, 2001, it was a 7-year period of waiting time and visa backlogs. If, for example, you were a legal permanent resident and you petitioned your spouse and your minor children, you had to wait 7 years to bring them to this country. So unfortunately, a lot of people could not be separated for so long. And those are part of the issues that have created this illegal immigration as well. So we try to get the reform, the immigration reform, and that is one of the parts that Congress needs to be looking at in order to fix this problem.
Who is trying to cross the border illegally?
The people that are trying to cross illegally are usually coming here because they are fleeing their country conditions. It could be poverty, it could be violence, it could be rape, it could be seeking asylum, persecution due to their faith or beliefs or nationality. So we see a lot of different people at the border, like I mentioned, either because of asylum or because they're looking for a better way of living and come seeking jobs. One of the issues that we have is the supply and demand, and our immigration laws have started from the need of U.S. To have employees, and sometimes under very low wages and conditions. It all started with the Chinese. We brought them in to build the railroads. Once we wanted to get rid of them, that's when immigration law started. Later down the Bracero program, we needed agricultural workers. We created the Bracero program. Comes the Depression, we started deporting. President Truman only deported Mexicans because that was cheaper than sending back Europeans through boats. And so down the line, the changes in immigration have been as a result of the supply and demand. More recently, I was reading about Katrina. The Katrina cleanup effort was primarily undertaken by a lot of Hispanics. The latest census to New Orleans shows that over 100,000 Hispanics took residents in New Orleans to help with the rebuilding effort. And to this day, Tulane University and the Loyola University have been making studies as to how they were working under hazardous conditions, under unsafe conditions, and some of them haven't even gotten paid to this day, 10 years after Katrina or more. We took advantage. So there were people like Halliburton, KBR, that got contracts from the federal government, from the Department of Justice, and this Department of Defense as well. And these workers were cleaning up our Air Force base, our naval bases, and they haven't gotten paid yet. Some of them, people would take advantage, contractors will take advantage, and once they had finished the job, they had done the rebuilding, they would say, well, I'm not going to pay you, and I'm going to call immigration on you, or I'm going to call the police. So they're to this date, they have been filing under the Federal Labor Standards Act, which does not require you to have papers in order for you to be paid. Some of these workers work 14-hour shifts and that actually helped rebuild Katrina. And it is a shame that to this date we have not, paid some of them. But basically, it has a lot to do with supply and demand. If we do not hire anybody illegally, then they're not going to be coming. If you put a stop to it, then they're not going to be coming illegally. Our job as an immigration attorney is to seek the laws that are going to help these people to be able to stay here. A lot of people come through immigration routes such as the professional visas, investor visas, creating jobs for the community. We have over 40% of our Fortune 500 companies that were created and started by immigrant entrepreneurs. So we have a lot of people that come through the proper legal channels. The North American Free Trade Agreement as well created visas for professionals. So we're bringing a lot of people when it is convenient for us to build the economy, to bring more jobs. And it is a shame what's happening right now, especially with the laws about family detention. It takes us back to the concentration camps of World War II. As a matter of fact, last year we went to a protest at Dilley, Texas, the facility that can house up to 2,400 women and children. And it is a shame to see that, Greta, that we are still treating them as we did back in World War II and concentration camps pretty much. So people are entitled to due process. Our country was built, for immigrants, by immigrants. And it is a shame that nowadays there's a lack of due process. We are spending over $20 billion a year in just enforcement. And through this enforcement, we're deporting over 430,000 people. So there is laws already in effect. We're spending, though, too much on detention facilities because we have a quota of 34,000 people per day have to be detained in order for the budgets that were approved by Congress. That needs to be repealed. For example, also the Cuban Adjustment Act of 1966. Over 100,000 Cubans have crossed within the last 2 years seeking asylum in the U.S. And this is so easy for Cubans to do that, and they're entitled to benefits.